This podcast is sponsored by CompareTheVet247.com, your AI-powered vet finder. Chris Wright, welcome to the Not a Vet podcast.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the invitation.
This has got to be one of the nicest places that I've been to do a podcast, I've got to say, and it's all wooden beams, and I feel like I'm in a lair.
Yeah, it's not my house though.
No, it's not your house. No, because you said there's too many animals running around on your farm.
It'd be far too noisy. There'd be dogs and chickens and sheep in the background.
You've got sheep? I didn't know that. You've got sheep.
Have sheep. Too many.
What else have you got on the farm?
Chickens, horses, sheep, dogs, cat, tortoise.
It's like you're a vet.
Yeah.
I know. And this is what we were just talking about at the start of this, is because throughout your career, and I'm just going to touch on this at the start, people don't know that you're actually a vet, do they? A lot of people don't seem to know that you're a vet. They know you as, I don't know, I think the majority of people know you from working for Medivet for a long period, but that was procurement. And I don't know, a lot of people that I speak to didn't see the PDSA days.
Yeah, and it surprised me as well.
Is that because you were too young?
I suppose so. But I think when I posted about it recently, that not everyone knew that I was a vet and worked in practice. That surprised me because I thought that would be the first thing people would recognise, but it was not. So
in your PDSA outfit, with people looking, going,
wow, he's worked.
And I think it's kind of generational, because a lot of my team that I work with, they only know you from Medivet, and probably just thought you're some sort of finance admin guy who's never actually been in a practice.
No, not at all.
I don't know, is it because we're older, we know different?
Probably.
I don't know. Right, let's go through some questions. Okay. So before we get to know the business side, who is Chris Wright away from work? Apart from tennis player who injures himself a lot.
Yeah, that happened, 2 weeks ago?
I know, I keep an eye on you.
Yeah, I fell over backwards and twisted my ankle quite badly, but that's better. Away from work, I suppose I've got a small holding, which you just referenced early on. So spend a lot of my time out in the fields and around the farm dealing with the animals. Which I really enjoy.
Do you vet your own animals?
I do.
Yeah.
So
you don't pay a vet then, you do it all yourself?
No, so around lambing time, obviously there's quite a few things that need to be done, and treating the horses if there's got any injuries or ailments. So I think that's how I've managed to keep my eye in as such and keep on top of those clinical skills, because there's always something on the farm that needs to be dealt with. Too many animals to mention. I think if we spent all day going through them all, then that'd be the end of the podcast.
You've got Noah's Ark.
So that's what I do outside of work, and I like it because you just switch off. You're not thinking about necessarily clinical stuff or commercial stuff or vet practice. It's being out in nature and fresh air. And
is that your happy place then?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun to do something completely different. On the farm as well, we've got a flower farm, so we grow flowers for weddings, funerals, gift bouquets delivered locally.
Now it makes sense for your LinkedIn posts.
Yeah, so
you grow them there. You're not importing them from Holland like everybody does.
No, we try to grow as many as we can, obviously for sustainability reasons, but we do have to buy some in. But Ryan, my partner, that's his day job. He works from home, looks after all the flowers,
right,
and does all the magic work with assembling
them
and delivering them. Yeah, I'm just usually the person who helps and lifts and puts manure on the flowers. Yeah, lifts and shifts.
Are they all grown outside then?
Mostly. We have got a polytunnel. We've got roses in there, and in spring we've got tulips and other bulbs to try and bring them on quicker. But it's a bit of a mixture.
You're doing it there, okay. Yeah. So that sounds like full on. That sounds like looking after the animals, looking after all the flowers, the occasional game of tennis.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's this, like you say, how big is the farm?
So we've got 6 acres for ourselves. We rent some extra acres from our neighbour about a third of a mile up the road.
Right, okay. So it's a fair piece of estate then?
Yeah, I'd like more. I want some more land eventually, but there's not that much around.
No.
For us, so maybe in time once it comes available.
Is that so when you retire, is that the plan? Big farm?
Probably not a big farm, but I'd like to have a property or a business where I can work from that can bring an income that will then sustain us into later life. So ultimately that's the ambition, whether that's maybe like a holiday lets or event space. So maybe like a wedding venue, or something like that, where we can work from home but have a nice life as well.
Interesting. Bits of that I didn't know. And we've known each other
a long time. I think since probably I started procurement for PDSA in 2013.
Right. I started where I am now, so about 13 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, 13 years ago. It was about 13 years, yeah.
I was actually thinking on the way here about how we met as well. And do you remember?
No.
So I remember that you had, and I'm sure this was you, I'm sure at the PD, that you had an X-ray generator that essentially was unwell. And I'd just joined the company, and I think it had gone through the whole service side of the operation, and it ended up you speaking to me, which was, I hadn't been there long, and service wasn't even my piece at that point. And somehow it was a case of, look, for a manager, I was it. And I think I'd been there a few weeks, and I'm sure you used the word, it's not good enough, this is a piece of shit. And it was just a case of, okay, what do we do about that? And that's how it sort of came to pass, because I'm sure that you give me a bit of a roasting about animal care. And I kind of thought, okay, he's like genuinely passionate because it's an animal charity. And we had to have, was that Stoke? Is that Stoke PD?
No, I was at Swansea PDSA first. Right. That's where I ran the hospital. Then I relocated to Telford, to the head office in 2013.
So I remember sending out a loan unit that had to go out the next day because it had to be turfed out of where we were in Watford at the time. And it was a case of, we don't do next day service. we do now. This guy's just annihilated me on the phone because the machine was down, and it was a case of, and that problem solving, right?
I think, and obviously animal welfare is
a
priority, and
I think
it needs to be fixed.
I think people can kind of, I don't know, resonate with other people that actually care about animals, because I'm not the sort of person who can have that on my conscience. And you probably just think that, I don't know, we're kind of corporate company, whatever. We kind of think that you're corporate but charity. Yep. But you can generally spot the people who are passionate about animals who's not going to let that be a problem. Because for me, the other option was, if the company couldn't have done it, it was going in my car. It was going in my car, and it was being driven there, because I was in Watford at the time. And the conversation was, well, I'll make it on the way home. And I think that, I don't know, but the people who are generally passionate about the animals understand that.
Yeah, and I think you obviously sorted it out, and we've remained...
You've come to me from problems ever since. Yeah.
We've remained good friends since then, because obviously we've got a similar mentality to dealing with animals and the importance of doing that quickly in a timely manner. So, I appreciated the work you did, and I think that's why we're still here today.
I think it is, to be fair. And I think you can spot it, can't you? You can spot the people that genuinely do care. It's not all about the commercial side of it. Everyone's going to make a living, but it's also about the animal side of it as well. Just having a quick look here. These are questions from Ellie, by the way. So you give me the death stare about why I'm asking these questions. Ellie, who does all the R&D. So there's some of the questions, and I don't know where she's got this one from. But looking back, what kind of kid were you? Did you always know what you wanted to become a vet? Did you always know you wanted to be a vet?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah. So that was always the ambition, and I continue to try to be a vet despite other people trying to put me off.
Meaning, what does that mean?
For example, some of my teachers at school, like one teacher in particular, said, I don't understand why Chris is trying to go to vet school. He's not from the right type of family.
Really?
And I think what he was referring to at that time was that I was a comprehensive kid, so not from like a public school, which I think maybe at the time a number of vet students came from. So I was just from a Catholic comprehensive school in Lancashire. And I think that's what he was referencing to. But actually that spurred me on even.
That gave you the drive to say it can't be done.
Yeah, even more. So then I went to college. So I didn't go to the same college as all my friends. I went to a different college that I knew did a better A-level course for sciences and maths, because that was my ambition. So I chose a different path to everybody else. And then I applied for vet school and didn't get in the first year.
Really?
Yeah. They said I didn't have enough work experience. So to go away, spend a year working in animal-related areas. So I spent 3 months on a dairy farm, 3 months working with horses. I was working voluntarily in a vet practice for 1 or 2 days a week, doing all sorts of things like that, just to try and boost my chances of application. Funnily enough, my mum and dad even went to see the local MP to get me a letter of reference to try and help my application. Yeah, so the MP was Lindsay Hoyle, who's the Speaker of the House of Commons now. But I don't know if they knew him at the time. But yeah, he even wrote me a letter to say I think Chris would be an excellent candidate to go to vet school. And yeah, I reapplied the next year and got in straight away. No interview or anything. Like I was just like, yep, you can come in. And a number of people in my class had a similar experience. And we were all of a similar, again, all from maybe comprehensive schools. Right. So whether they were trying to do something a little bit different that time on that intake. But yeah, I went to Bristol Vet School in 1999. Seems a long time ago now. But I suppose like linked to that's where I really like some of the things that like the University of Central Lancashire are doing at the moment, where they're trying to recruit vet students from different walks of life, not your typical vet student background. They're looking for a more diverse intake. And I really like that, giving other people a chance. Like, that's not to say I'm from a difficult background. I had a very good, childhood and no complaints there. But the fact that they're thinking of doing things differently and how that might impact the vets of the future and their ability to, let's say, survive in this difficult career.
It is difficult,
is something to be really looked on favourably. So yeah, happy to see that. So yeah, that's how I got from being in school to joining Bristol Vet School.
So you're not a full-on academic then? You had to work for it. Was it difficult?
Yeah, like some parts of it were difficult. I wasn't like the most naturally gifted at, like, say, English, so I had to really work at my English language, and my writing itself is still not the best. I had to have some extra lessons with the teachers to try and get my grades to be where they needed to be to move to A-level, which I did. I did very well in my GCSEs, but I had to like study hard. I'm not one of these.
He's not naturally gifted.
No, not like my brother. My brother was just like naturally clever.
Just walked it.
Yeah. I'm not. So I had to work at it, but yeah, got there in the end.
Is the passion still there? It's a different because it's a different world now. Do you think that people still share the same passion to come in the industry as they did when you did it?
I think so.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I spent quite a bit of time last year with some students who were doing their A-levels to help them on like a summer course, and their drive and ambition to be vets was really clear to see.
Right.
But their awareness of the issues that there are in practice, they knew already. Yeah, they knew about, for example, like suicide or burnout and all the things that we hear talked about in the veterinary press. They already knew it at 16 and 17.
Yeah. Social media. Asking
questions about it and how do you cope and what do I need to do and have you any advice? So yeah, the passion's there, but I think the understanding of how difficult it is also there too.
Right. And it's not putting them off, you don't think?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, there's more and more vet schools now, so they're obviously got some good numbers coming through. But I was blown away by some of the questions they asked.
Really?
Yeah.
So this says you had quite a few jobs before qualifying as a vet, but it doesn't say what they are. Did you have quite a few jobs before qualifying as a vet?
Yeah, I think because of that year.
You smiled then. There's some crazy stuff here.
Yeah, because of that year out, I had to do quite a few different things to make a living. Yeah. I wasn't 100% sure that I would get into vet school, obviously, because I had to take the year out and reapply. So I thought I do need to build up my bank balance to try and help with that. Yeah. I was also thinking, like, what do I do if I can't become a vet? What's my plan B? And how do I make sure that I've got some other options? So my plan B was always to be a forensic scientist after vet school. Yeah. So forensic science, pathology, like crime scene investigation. That's
CSI.
Yeah. I really enjoy like those type of things. And so again, it's the science and the data behind what's going on and what's happened. So that was always my plan B, but luckily I didn't need a plan B. So yeah, in that year out, I did.
Go on. What did you do? I
worked in a factory making telephones. Like the pay phones that you have we probably don't have them in pubs anymore.
I was going to say, yeah.
You put little coins in, for it's called Marconi. So I did that. Yeah. My mum and dad used to have a restaurant. So I used to wine wait and do waitering. So I did that. I've referenced that I worked on dairy farms, horse farms. I worked in a cafe.
So you did do a bit of everything to make the money, make the ends.
Yeah, and again to build up my bank balance, so that when I got to university,
because that's not cheap.
I try and help myself and not have to depend on my parents too much. Obviously, that they had to help me go through it, like financially. But I only got the standard student loan, so there was a bit of a deficit once you'd paid for your accommodation. And I think I was the first year that they paid student fees.
Right.
So it was, I think, like £1,000 a year was my tuition fees, which was the first time. So I got as many jobs as I could to get the money in, and maybe working 2 or 3 jobs a day to pay.
Do you think doing all those different jobs and getting your hands dirty, do you think it made you appreciate it more?
I think from that,
do you think more people should do that?
I think working with people and customer service, and I think the veterinary surgeon role is probably 95% people, I'd say.
Yeah, TLC, as we used to say in the ambulance service, TLC.
Yeah, and if you can speak with people and interact in a positive, friendly way, and I suppose distill down the technical, clinical terms into simple, everyday understanding, then that gets you a long way. So I think that taught me that how you deal with
communicate with people on different levels, how
you deal with complaints. So, my food's not right, or you've given me the wrong drink, or
de-escalation techniques.
Yeah.
My beans are cold.
It may seem that you're just earning money just to fill your bank balance for uni, but actually you're learning a lot of life skills at the same time.
But you probably didn't realise you were learning the life skills at the time until later. Then.
No, not until
just taking the money at that point.
Not until I reflected on it recently, actually. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. These are the things that make you what you are today.
Yeah, and I think I'm not from a vet family, so
no other vets. Nothing.
No other vets. No, my dad is an electrician.
Right.
He's just retired. So he had his own electrical contractor company.
Right.
Installing new electrics into houses or housing estates.
Right.
Around Lancashire and a bit further. My mum was a hairdresser, so she had her own hairdressing salon. So
there's not a vet or a nurse or anything veterinary to be seen? Because it does actually say, one of the questions here is what attracted you to the profession. So it's not from the family.
No.
So where does it come from?
I think I've always liked animals. So when I was younger, we had dogs. We had horses. Right. So my sister had probably 3 or 4 ponies. I used to have a horse. I used to do horse riding and show jumping.
Oh, right.
Up until I went to university, and then sold my horse prior to going to uni. My horse used to be called Chris as well, so that was a bit weird.
Chris with Chris?
Yeah. I didn't name him
That
Chris.
Doesn't sound weird at all.
He was called Chris when I bought him. I thought, I can't really change it. So, yeah, he had a sign on his door saying Chris. A bit weird. But he was named after a potato man in Wales, apparently.
There's a connection there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm naming it.
So I think that's probably where it stems from. I like animals. I like science. I think the two things,
animals and science,
equals vets. Yeah.
So was the reality of being a vet what you would imagine when you graduated? Was it what you thought it was going to be? Because where did you go when you graduated? What was the first practice after that?
Well, so the very first practice that I ever went to was when I was maybe year 10, 11, when you do work experience at secondary school. Right. So I went to a practice called Hillcrest in Chorley.
Yep.
With Chris and Katrina, and spent a week there. And I could only do a week. I wanted 2 weeks because it was 2 weeks of work experience. And I managed to get a week in with them because it was really a popular place that everyone wanted to go to. So the second week I spent with my dad on a building site doing electrics, and I thought that's definitely not what I want to do anymore. Yeah. I certainly don't want to do be an electrician. So that's where I first spent some time in vet practice and really enjoyed that. And then I used to, like I mentioned earlier, I used to go into a vet practice 1 or 2 times a week just voluntarily to help out. So usually on a Wednesday when I was off from college doing my A-levels, you had Wednesdays off. So I used to go to Pinewood Vets again in Chorley because that's where I'm from originally. And used to go in there and help do usually cleaning cages, washing instruments.
Getting your hands dirty.
Yeah,
like
funnily enough, I used to do as well X-ray film development. So it was when it was the liquid.
Showing your age now.
The liquid
developer.
Yeah, the liquid processor. I had to dunk it in a vat of liquid for a few minutes and then lift it.
It wasn't even an automatic developer. It was a tray, was it? The old school tray.
It was in proper trays, yeah.
God.
And then I had to do it through this process and hang them up on the washing line to dry. And yeah, so that was part of my job when I was a teenager. Then went to vet school. And then my first job when I left vet school was in South Wales, so in Bridgend. There's a mixed practice there called Mice Class, where I worked for 2 years. So like it was funny because 3 of my classmates, we all started at the practice at the same time. One of our friends then started at the other practice in town. So there was 4 of us in the same town that started. So
causing trouble.
Yeah, not necessarily causing trouble, but it was nice just to have them around for moral support and then debrief in a pub afterwards in the evening. We could just go and mull it over and talk to each other about what done well, what had not gone well. Nice. So that was really nice. So I did that for 2 years, and I loved that practice. It was an amazing place to work, mixed practice, doing small animals, horses, large animal. And like I say, I did that for two years on call. Learned so much. The partners were amazing, really, really supportive. I probably couldn't ask for a better job.
Right.
And I always thought I wanted to be a horse vet. That was my ultimate aim. I wanted to be a horse vet and be out and about treating show jumping horses, race horses.
It's cold out there. It's cold outside.
Yeah. But I think 2 years in mixed practice put me off.
Did it?
Yeah.
It's quite tough being an equine vet, isn't it? It's cold out there.
I like the horses. It was the people on the end of the leader up that were a little bit difficult.
And that doesn't surprise me, to be fair. My interaction with equine vets is they are... that can be rough.
You've got, fair play to those guys for doing it. I just didn't enjoy it. And I was kicked off a few times for not falsifying documentation or certificates. And they're like, just get off my stable yards. They're always sending out these young kids. Wait till I speak to the partner and I get back to the practice and speak to Mr. Davey, who, bless him, is no longer here anymore. But he'd always say, well, Chris, if you had falsified that, then I'd have sacked you. So well done for not doing that. And he was super supportive. And that happened a number of times with horses and TB tests and other things. And I just, I was like, I don't really enjoy this. I like the outdoor nature. Yeah. I thought I want to try something different. I was getting a bit sick of the calls at night as well. It was a time when you used to answer your own phone for call out. So I don't know if that still happens, but I used to take the like triaged all the calls as well, and people throwing up at 1 a.m. for a worming tablet and all sorts of things. So I was just like, this isn't really for me anymore. So that's why I thought I'll try and do something different, see where it goes. And yeah, ended up joining PDSA for maternity cover.
Oh, right. So you basically went from the mixed practice then straight into the PD.
Into PDSA. Yeah, more or less.
So that's different. Equine or mixed straight into the PD.
Yeah.
Because PD's field medicine 101. Really, isn't it? It's seen as field medicine. It's the roughest. If you can survive the PDSA, you can survive anything.
Yeah, and I think it was 2006, 2007, and that's when I met Ryan, my partner now, in Wales. No, in Wales, in South Wales. And therefore decided like that was kind of a place that I wanted to spend more time.
Right.
And this job came up in Swansea, so half an hour down the motorway from Bridgend.
Right.
And thought, well, it's a 6-month maternity cover.
I'm only going to cover 6 months.
Let me see how it goes. And I think I'd only been there a few weeks, and that was turned into a permanent role. And then, it progressed from there. So I think that's how I ended up being at PDSA. It wasn't a plan. I just
fell into it
because I thought, oh, well, it's 37.5 hours a week.
It's half an hour up the road.
It's half an hour up the road. I can do stuff around it because like PDSA, obviously you work super hard, but you've got they had shift patterns. So you'd start early and finish a bit earlier, or start late and finish a bit late. So I can actually have a life outside of it. Whereas in my first job, I was
on call,
work all night, back in all day. My day off would be like Friday the following week. So it could be a real slog. So I thought this sounds like it might give me a bit more structure to work out what I'm going to do with my life.
Is it as chaotic, the PD? Is it what you see? Whenever I've been going into PDSAs for the last 20 years, and it's like no other going into a PDSA from my point of view, because it's the pace.
I would do 60 consults a day sometimes.
60?
Yeah, with maybe no lunch, but. They might have a lunch break, half an hour potentially, but you work solid and you'd have a board full of operations. But my experience is the team that work in those type of places are just the best, and such a good group of people to work with that you just all muck in and you get stuff done.
Dedicated.
Yeah. And you have such a good time working that it's actually not, it doesn't feel that intense.
No, I think when I first used to go into them and you just used to see so much going on with so many people all the time that it was a case of it looked high pressure. But then certainly when we used to spend a lot of time with them doing training, you find out they're all not wide upright because they're all a bit mental. It's a bit reminds me of the ambulance service when I was there, that they were all a bit of not rights. They had to have a really dark, twisted sense of humour. And it's the same in the PD, where they'll just mock each other and you kind of hear these goings on. And I think it's a kind of survival mode, but they gel so well together.
It's probably I'd say it's the best place I've ever worked.
Really?
Yeah. Just from a vet point of view, of the team camaraderie and working together to get the day done. Nothing beats it. We'd schedule a break at 11 and have a cup of tea and crumpets and other bits. But it's so important that you take time just to decompress when you work in that intense environment. And I think that's quite different to independent practice again, which can be sometimes just continually go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, no.
Whereas, the welfare and looking after yourself in somewhere like PDSA was, not what I expected, and I think that's why I stayed, because people genuinely cared for what they were trying to do.
Yeah, genuine animal welfare people who have a love of animals.
Yeah, and it made it a really good place to learn stuff.
Tough place though with customers. I've been in so many PDSAs where I've been in reception and Jesus.
I think you always think about the ones, the memorable ones are always maybe the difficult ones or whatever, but they're such a small percentage of people that come in. Most people are fairly genuine and need some real help. And you do just sometimes think about the difficult ones when actually it's few and far between.
Yeah, I suppose from the outside in, we end up looking and seeing it through a small window of all the worst possible case scenarios where it's 1 in 1,000, pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it if anyone is thinking about a job for progression and learning. That's somewhere to consider for sure.
I think the PDSA now is seen as somewhere, I don't know, from people I speak to, sort of new grads, people thinking about the whole thing, is that if you go there and you can kind of survive it, and it's the best place you can be. It's the benchmark test, isn't it? I think the RSPCA is quite similar. It's the benchmark test, is if you can survive this and you can build on it and build the skills and build the camaraderie and the humour and the sort of being self-aware, then you can survive pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
It's the gold standard, I think.
Yeah.
So I've got here as well that you were in charge of a number of projects at the PDSA, but again, it doesn't tell me.
Yeah.
And it says, what project are you most proud of during your time there?
Yeah. So obviously I've just talked about how I worked at the Swansea Hospital. So I did 6 years working in that hospital.
Was that 6 years?
Yeah, as a vet. For the first 4 of them, I was, let's say, a vet in the team. For the final 2 years, I was the senior vet, so I was running the hospital.
Well, that's when I remember when you were the senior vet.
Yeah. So that's when I started to really get the interest in the commercial side of running a vet practice, because obviously it's a slightly different business model. Being a charity practice, you'd have an annual budget that you needed to achieve and work with. So you were given a pot of money that you could spend in the year, and you need to spend that as wisely as possible to treat the thousands of animals who are coming through the door. And I really like that challenge of taking the practice from being one of the worst performing in the whole country to top 5 when I left. And that's because I really enjoyed like the numbers and the commercial side of running that practice. And they don't really teach you that at vet school. Well, they didn't.
The commercial
they
side.
didn't at the time. No. I know a number of the vet schools do have like veterinary business training now.
Do they?
Yeah. So I think
they need that.
Yeah,
Desperately
for sure. So I've actually sat on. I've been a dragon on like a Dragon's Den version of like some vet school training where you get the vet students create a business plan for setting up their own veterinary practice.
That's a good idea.
And then they have to pitch to us, who are bankers in effect, to give them money. So they present you with a plan of what they want to do and how they want to structure their practice. And we then say whether we'll give them money or not, whether they'll fund their project. So there are some universities out there doing some really, really cool things. But back in the day when I was doing it, they didn't do that. So I thought, how do I learn more about business to try and help with my career, but also put it into action at PDSA? So that's when I went and did a master's in business administration. So I did that part-time in an evening. So I'd work PDSA in the day and then go to uni in the night, 6 till 9. Did that for 3 years.
Any sleeping going on in that 3 years?
3 days a week. But I loved that because I like learning new stuff. So I could, even though it was 3 hours of uni after working a full day at PDSA, it was different. It was
different environments.
Yeah, and you were learning about things that I was starting to put into practice in the hospital when I was running as a senior vet. So I did that, and that then obviously got me my master's degree. I think that was then a springboard then to moving to PDSA head office. So I wanted to see how could I take what I've learned and developed in the hospital and then use that to impact the performance and ultimately the animal welfare in not one hospital, like 51 hospitals at the time.
Yeah.
So there was a job came up at PDSA head office.
What year was that?
That was 2013.
Okay. 2013.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get a timeline in my head.
Yes, that was 2013. So I started at PDSA 2007.
Yeah.
2013 was then I moved from the hospital at PDSA to the head office. So with this one, there was a job advert came out for a clinical procurement person at PDSA head office, but it was pitched as a nurse level.
Right.
And it's a job I really wanted. So I actually wrote a business case about why I should get it and the value that I could bring to get that job.
Even though you're hugely overqualified for it, technically.
Yeah. And they reconsidered and put me into the applications process, and I got the job, which I was really, really happy about, because I was thinking about what do I do next, because I really like the commercial side. I applied for all sorts of different jobs around that time. Like Zoetis, as a business consultant, I applied for that. They didn't even interview me, but I was looking at different options about how can I use my vet and commercial degree to do something different. But luckily I got the
procurement then at PDSA for how long? Yeah,
till I left till Medivet 2016, so I did it for 3 years.
Right.
So initially I was doing similar to what I've done in the past, like buying medicines and medical equipment and those sort of things.
So that 3 years, and I can remember this vividly without saying too many names, but I can that 3 years that you did commercial at PD was the same 3 years that the phone went from me to me with a member of the PDSA, not you, saying, we've got these, and I'm not going to say the brand, CR machines that we need to make last for another 2 years because this commercial guy has just come in, which is you, says we haven't got any money. So as much as we want to change them, we can't change them. So can you keep them on the road for another 2 years? And it was a case of, we can try.
Yeah.
We had to, because you didn't have any money. And it was a case of they were going to wipe them all out and they were going to replace them, but they needed to last another 2 years. And I mean, that was field medicine for us as much was for you, because they had no money, and we were, for the ones that needed the machines replacing straight away, they did with the money that they had. But the machine that came out, we were cannibalising it for parts, and we were keeping them on the road for 2 years. My word.
Yeah.
Vicky, you know who you are. I'm not going to say a surname, but yeah. I mean, we managed to do that, but wow, there was a lot of chewing gum and paper clips and things holding them together. Yeah. And that's you probably telling them they haven't got the money to spend.
Yeah. It's, I think, still the case that charities and animal welfare organisations are still struggling. So you have to make every penny count. Mm-hmm. That was 2013. And then I think for the last 18 months of that time at PDSA, I did some project work. So the first one was I led the project to change over their uniform. So I think...
Really?
Yeah, you might remember they were all in blue.
Yep.
And then they changed to a green and pink.
Colourblind, but I can tell the difference.
So I led the project for that. So there's probably not much I don't know about garment thickness and embroidery. And
why change?
It was part of the rebrand.
Right.
It was a massive change management piece, because you imagine trying to change the uniform for thousands of people.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult project.
Someone's not going to like that colour somewhere.
No, exactly. So that was a real challenge, but yeah, I enjoyed doing that because it was very different. And then I did a design and launch of their own brand vet care range. So they had a range of pet supplements, shampoos, ear treatments, dog chews and snacks type thing. I led the project to take that from concept, a simple idea, from concept right through to pitching that. So we went to pitch at the supermarkets and the major pet care retailers. Managed that project right from start to finish.
I didn't know that.
And that's when I did my project management training. So I did the Prince 2 project management just to
do they still do that then, PD? Do they still do their own brand stuff?
Yeah, still going live now. Yeah, so it's still doing well. And I spoke to the guys, some of the guys at BVA, and said it's still going strong. That's 10 years later.
Yikes.
So super proud of, I suppose, of those two pieces really, because both of those projects are still live today. And you look at the organisation and you can see the work that I did. They're probably the two biggest things I was proud of as working at PDSA in those days.
What's the biggest thing you learned from the PDSA? Well, you've got to name two. One's the commercial, one's the clinical.
The clinical, I think, was what do you do if there's nobody else to help? So
no backup coming.
Yeah. So I think probably a year into my time there, our senior vet left. So there's myself and my colleague and friend at the time, Erin. It was just us two. So we were both like a year or two qualified from vet school.
In at the deep end.
In at the deep end. We taught each other and learned so much from each other, either from textbooks or just from support or going on CPD courses to do some incredible things. So if you ever see me do DIY, you don't want me to put a shelf up in your house. I can't do it. But for some reason I could fix a dog or cat's broken leg with the metalwork and pins.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I can't do the DIY and I can't do the veterinary either.
I'm hoping I
can do an X-ray machine pretty well.
So we supported each other and did some really good things for the animals when there was no
other option.
No other option.
So the thing you learnt was what? Resilience?
Yeah, or just like obviously giving things a go. Not what that's going to compromise animal welfare or that's
but realising
dangerous.
If there is no other
doing
option.
Something that's good for the animals that you know should get a positive outcome, because if you don't, then there's no other option. I think it's having the confidence in yourself to do things, but don't be stupid. Just do things that you know you can do that are within your capability, but have a go.
Well, if there's no other option, there's no other option, is there? If the animal welfare comes to it, having a go is better than a negative outcome, right?
Yeah, and as long as people know what you're doing and the plan and the consent is there. And we did some really, really cool things together. And like I say, I learned a lot. I think I got to a point though where I was like, do I want to specialise clinically? So do I want to go down this medicine or surgery route? Mm-hmm. And that's why I thought, I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it that much. But I really like the numbers. And that's why I decided to do the commercial side, because I'd got to a point where I was doing clinical stuff to as good a level as you can in PDSA, probably above and beyond what some of my colleagues are doing in small like independent practice.
Right.
Probably like not referral level, but like good quality vet care. But that wasn't like what I wanted to do forever. So that's why I decided either I do a certificate in clinical or commercial thing. And I thought I enjoy the commercial, so I switched to that instead.
So what did you learn? What's the biggest learn from the commercial side of the PD then? Because that's where the commercial passion starts then, really. Again, at the PD.
Yeah, I think...
What's the biggest learn from the PD on commercial?
I would say that clinical always comes first.
Right.
Like, irrespective of how much it costs. Like, clinically, if it's not the right thing, then you shouldn't be doing it.
That strikes a chord.
So you shouldn't do things like because they're cheap, like they're cheaper.
No.
You should do things because clinically it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I found myself surrounded in that conversation that cheaper is not always better, and to be honest, the cost is kind of irrelevant. It's just the best care.
So what's the best care? And I think that's where I learned the concept that actually it's clinical first, commercial second. And something that stuck with me today in my last job and into the new things that I'm trying to do, that clinical should rule. That should be where you focus on doing the right thing clinically. If there are multiple ways of doing something, then like for sure consider like what's the commercial impact of that.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be your number one.
No.
That shouldn't be your number one consideration. No. And you think that's maybe a bit strange in a charity where like money is really tight.
Well, you and I have had this conversation. I remember we talked about this conversation many years ago of buying sort of unbranded kit, shall we say, versus branded kit. And one of the first pieces that we did with you was to put in the branded kit. And I don't know if you remember this. It was a CR machine, and it was a case of, well, we'll put it in there because there used to be an ongoing joke that if you want to try out a piece of equipment, give it to an equine vet because they're guaranteed to break it. But if you want it dead in the first 24 hours, give it to the PDSA because it has a tough life at the PDSA. And we put in one of them kits into one of your sites and, just go and run with it. And it was a case of it costs more money, but it's not going to break.
Yeah. There's total.
And that whole, and from that, the whole PDSA all ended up with another German well-made product, shall we say. And it's quite funny, really, because a couple of sites in the PD have got still the same machine, 15 years old, still going. Because, do you know what? Yes, it was a couple of grand more, but it's 15 years old.
There's a total lifetime value. It's how you get the most value out of that piece of equipment or procedure, or what gives the best outcome.
It's not just a money conversation, is it? And I think, to be honest, you know that because if you were procurement solely without the clinical knowledge in the background, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. And
I think a lot of procurement is just looking at the bottom line of a spreadsheet.
Yeah, and I've seen people who are external to the industry come in and make advice or make suggestions around improvements without considering the clinical impact of making a decision. So, I don't know, I take two veterinary medicines, for example. One might be slightly cheaper, but actually the indications on the label are not quite the same. And therefore you can't use it in every scenario legally. You can only use it in a certain situation. So it might look cheaper on paper, but actually you can't use it in a number of different situations. So having that clinical consideration as well as the commercial is super important. And I think that's what I learned.
I think more people need to know you're a vet because I would have thought all the time that you were, when we go on to Medivet, that I wonder how many times I sat in meetings with you and other people who didn't know you were a vet. Or how many people I had in my company then at the time who also didn't know you were a vet. Do you know what I mean? You think back about all the meetings that we had, and I just thought they'd know, but they'd only ever just seen you talking commercial. So when you did post that picture, you look young in that picture, by the way, that you put on LinkedIn in your PDSA outfit.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people looked to that. I'm gonna use I need a picture of you for the PDSA. I'm gonna put it on this podcast thumbnail because I think that's the biggest thing. But because being able to talk about it commercially is one thing, but having clinical knowledge is such a big thing, isn't it? You can have really great accountants who are good with numbers and they're good with procurement, but understanding the clinical value because you've done it.
Yeah. I think that was the picture with Doris from Gavin and Stacey.
I don't know. You were kind of crouched down. I think the one you put on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I think if it's the same one, there's me and Joe, one of the nurses, and Doris, I remember what her name is, Margaret. Yeah, Margaret John, who used to play Doris in Gavin and Stacey. She came to open the branch that was opening in Llanelli.
Right.
The funniest woman. So funny.
And you said Gavin and Stacey. I thought you were joking there for a minute.
No, the actress. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So she was the cheeky neighbour who lives next door to Stacey's mum. She came to open the practice because she lived not too far from where we were, and she was the funniest lady.
So then at that point you did what, another 3 years in then procurement for PD?
Yeah, so 2013 to 2016 was my PDSA procurement tenure.
And obviously at that point, PDSA procurement, you obviously got a taste for procurement.
Yep.
And kind of saw yourself going more in that direction.
Yeah.
How did we end up at Medivet? How did we go from PDSA to Medivet? Because everyone's like, he's gone from the PDSA, he's converted to a corporate.
So again, I wasn't expecting to leave PDSA. I didn't have this.
Did they seek you or did you seek them?
Nobody. Is it sought? Is that the right word?
Sought.
No, nobody sought each other out at all. I just randomly saw an advert looking for a regional director for Liverpool.
Right.
And at PDSA, at the time, people weren't moving jobs.
Right.
So I always thought that I was going to be, let's say, I wanted a career and continue to climb the chain.
Progress.
It's not a corporate, it was a charity, but can I move higher and higher?
Yeah.
But the people above me were not moving and they were completely happy in their jobs. And I thought, I want to keep going in my career. I wouldn't say I reached the ceiling of what I could do, but I was comfortable.
Right.
And if I get comfortable, then I want to challenge myself a little bit.
Do you get bored after 3? There's a 3-year pattern here. There's a rolling 3-year pattern.
Well, now, yeah, we joke about 3 years, but I think it's probably more a 9 or 10 year pattern, which I'll talk about shortly. But I got an itch to do something a bit different.
Right.
And I saw this advert for a regional director for Medivet, and I was like, I don't even know who these guys are.
You never heard of Medivet?
Nah.
Really?
Nah. Not until I looked into them, and then obviously researched the job a little bit. But I suppose I thought it's something different. Maybe there's an opportunity to like grow in a larger group. And yeah, the money was
decent,
good. Yeah, like it was a significant increase to what I was getting paid. So I thought, actually, I'll go to the interview and see what they want. They're probably not interested in a charity guy like that's.
Who interviewed you?
Nitsan.
Really?
Yeah. So he was one of the partners at the time, and met the area team there and really liked them and what they were trying to do. So I thought I probably won't get the job because, like I say, of my background. But yeah, they called me the next day and said, yeah, we'd love you to join the team. And I debated it for a good while and spoke to a lot of my friends, like, and said, like, what should I do? And like, well, you're not going to know unless you try it. So I decided to go.
True.
I decided to go into to join Medivet. But when I joined them, I said to Nitsan at the time, so I'm coming as like a regional operations person. That's my role. But I said it's not the job that I want. I want a procurement.
You told them that before you started?
Yeah. I said I want a procurement job. This is what I enjoy, but I'm going to use this as a stepping stone to getting into the organisation.
People aren't used to that straight talking, are they?
No.
No.
He's like, right, so that's fine. We can do that. And I think it wasn't the idea of me joining was at the time when my Medivet was like 100 practices. When I joined.
Was it?
Yeah. And there was like 15, let's call them senior partners, but the 15 original vets that owned it. So they still own the company, ran it.
Arnold.
Yeah, it was, it's got like a big vet group rather than necessarily corporate at the time. So it was very different to when I left. But yeah, I thought I'll give these guys a go and see where I can go. So I was like regional operations director for I think about 2.5, 3 years for Medivet in like Liverpool, Northwest, West Midlands, and then did some like wider regional support up in like North Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, that area, Manchester.
And was it very different going from corporate to PD? PD to corporate?
Yeah, I think like I say, when I joined Medivet, it wasn't really corporate.
No, it's just like a big vet group.
15 vets running a big vet group, yeah. And at the time, I think PDSA was probably more corporate.
It was bigger.
Just because they had
advanced.
more like processes and ways of doing things that were quite advanced for the time.
Yeah.
So from a charity, it was run like efficiently.
Like policy and procedure driven.
Yeah, and there was quite a lot of processes that you would follow, but I like that. And then you go to a group that isn't like that because they've obviously grown quite quickly through acquisition, and you've got these 15 people who are working together. I think obviously things changed then as the company matured and became more corporate like. But yeah, there was a clear difference, but not the way that you think. Probably the other way around.
Yeah. So how long? So you did that regional director's job for what? 3 years? 2.5, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years. So I joined September. Joined the head office team in September 2019.
Right.
So just before the pandemic, when I started the procurement for Medivet.
Just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Testing. Interesting time to land in a new post.
Yeah. So
was that seen as promotion? That'd be classed as promotion, won't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So at the time I was commercial director. So I was looking after the procurement team, but also health and safety, facilities, fleet, a few other departments at the time. And as the company grew, then it kind of got disseminated to like company leads within each department. So ultimately, I ended up as head of procurement for the group. The pandemic was difficult because you go from buying medicines and equipment and other clinical stuff to buying hand sanitizer or
interesting considering when I look out the window what we're looking at here.
Hand sanitizer or test kits or gloves and PPE. So they were sort of things that I had to go to buy, and even thinking like shelters for outside. So I was buying shelters for car parks for people to stand under because they couldn't go outside, or canopies for outside vet practices to put on so that people didn't get wet, umbrellas, jackets, all that sort of stuff. So very different on a reduced team. So it was a challenge, but I quite enjoyed it. I was working from home for 2 years, which I loved. And really, really liked that ability to combine work with being at home. So it was hard, but I probably not a nice thing to say. I enjoyed the pandemic. Like it gave me things that I wasn't expecting, like from a development point of view, but also from a lifestyle point of view. I think, to be fair,
I think it did for everybody. I think as much as, it was an awful time in a lot of respects, I think you made your path. I think everyone had to do that. I think certainly for me, I spent a long time being the only person in our office during the whole. I was literally the shirt on the top half, so I could sit in meetings, and jeans and trainers on the bottom half because I might have to drive a forklift. And I think you develop, don't you? You develop on the run, really, to be fair. It was really eerie having a building full of people, then being the only person in it. But I don't know. You have to, like you say, develop new skills. COVID-19 test kits. I dread to think how many of them.
Yeah. And like you just develop like different skills and like problem solving and just trying to work out what you're going to do tomorrow to keep the practices open and safe, and buying face masks by the pallet load.
Yeah.
Where am I going to put all these masks? And it's just a completely different, it was a different world, but it was a challenge, but like I say, enjoyable.
Yeah, I get it. I remember, I don't know, 40,000 face masks turning up, and we didn't want to do anything with them, but we had no choice because all these vets are screaming for them. It's a case of you supply equipment, X-ray equipment, not this. And we ended up doing it anyway because people saw us as giving solutions to vets.
Yeah.
And the wagon turned up outside, and hopefully I can't be charged for this now because the pandemic was a long time ago, and the truck driver was saying, "You need to take them off, lad." Take what off? Take all them pallets off the back of my truck. And I'm like, "Well, there's my forklift. There you go." And he said, "I can't drive that." Well, neither can I. and at that point, there's a new skill I learned. And it's a case of make it work. Make it work.
Yeah.
And I can remember sending out boxes, literally packing boxes and sending them out the door, being the only person in the building, to going upstairs because my alarm's going off to go and sit in a finance meeting or something like that. And you do learn new skills. And, all the team kept all the engine running on it, or working from home on their laptops and on their phones. But, I think it showed sort of camaraderie and teamwork.
Yeah.
At its absolute best.
Yeah. And from like a procurement's perspective, the suppliers that were there for you in that time, and looked after you, they did an amazing job. And I think you don't necessarily get that loyalty. So I often reflect back on that those guys went above and beyond to try and help. And I think that is worth a lot of value in the future.
People are there during the tough times. Because the thing with it was as well is we had, from our point of view, I can remember there was a point in this where they were going to close all vets. Do you remember that? They were talking about all vets are going to be shut. Realistically, it was never going to happen, but they were going to be closed, as in not even open, and it was going to be restricted service only. And I remember listening to that where there was going to be an announcement the next morning and thinking are we all going to be here tomorrow type conversation. That was a stressing night. A couple of drinks were had that night.
Yeah.
And then the next morning saying, right, okay, yes, it's all good to go. And then getting from the, I don't know how many customers we had, about 4,000 of each one of them groups, charities, etc. Okay, so if you're coming into our practice, this is what you've got to do. Now, you wouldn't believe how many different standards, and I'm not going to say the name of the group, but one of the groups, when we went in to do a service, it was a full paper suit, face mask, plastic covers, gloves, the whole thing, just to go in and do the service. Other ones were just like, you know, can you wear a mask? And then other ones were just like, we're just not letting you in. It was so varied, but, you know, Ben, who does all the audio editing, I've got a picture of him in a full paper suit, and he had to go into every time they went into one of their branches, they were so mad keen on it that they had to show photographs of everything they cleaned in the room. They were absolutely crazy, obsessional over it. And breakdowns. I mean, breakdowns were terrible. I think with one of the old PD sites back in the day, where the machine had gone bang, we ended up taking out a loan unit, but they wouldn't let us in to plug it in. Well, we've got to plug it in because it's classed as an installation. It's got to be done by an engineer. You can't come in. You can't have the machine. Well, just give it us. We'll just plug it in ourselves. Oh. And I mean, challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges doesn't even come close, to be fair. Full respirator on inside a PD going in a side door, trying to plug it in and then running out the door so we don't get COVID or anything like that. No one had COVID, but people were so crazy paranoid about it. But making it work, keeping vets on the road.
Yeah.
Good times. They were good times. So, sorry, we digress like then. So you liked it at Medivet. It was good. I mean, this is where you probably hone the skills of procurement a bit at PD, and then this is on another level then, right? When you do get to procurement, surely. This is big numbers now.
Yeah, from a scale point of view, then it was, completely different.
Did you ever question yourself about doing procurement when you went into the big numbers like Medivet?
No, not really, because it's the same principles.
Just bigger scale.
Bigger, just move the decimal point a little bit.
A little bit.
But yeah, so I started in September 2019 doing the procurement role. But I think I had probably about a year of a handover, so leading up to that point. So one of the partners was called Jeff, who had done the procurement for Medivet for many, many, many years, and a well-known personality in the vet industry. So I used to travel to Norwich every month, and we would do handover meetings with each of the suppliers. So he would have maybe 3 or 4 supplier meetings scheduled over 2 days while I was in Norwich. And we'd do like debrief on what the products were, who the suppliers were, what's the history, what's the plans, build the relationship with each of the suppliers. So I felt like I had quite a good intro into it before I started.
Were people surprised then that you, at that point at Medivet, that you actually knew the kit because you'd used a lot of this kit?
Yeah, but also as well,
because was there anybody else there who had clinical experience at Medivet? Or were they just procurement people?
Mainly procurement people. So it was split at the time. So there was like the clinical procurement, which was Jeff.
Yeah.
And then like the non-clinical stuff, which was like mainly like the non-clinical people. Whereas when I took it on, it kind of all merged together.
Right.
So yeah, I spent quite a lot of time with Jeff and learned the ropes from him. And like you say, it's similar. It's just like a different scale of commercial. And I think as this industry, it's very much built on like relationships and knowing people and
trust.
I knew a lot of people from PDSA, so it was the same people, but just for a different company. So I felt like I hit the ground running in that way because I wasn't starting from scratch.
It's got to be a big advantage, hasn't it? Having some scope in it. Just doing procurement, university, walking in there, you'd have been like a rabbit in headlights, wouldn't you? Having actually worked in it. I think, I don't know, for me, I'm a firm believer in people who've, done the job. They've got some experience in the job before just sort of qualifying plastic pips, as we used to call it back in the day.
Yeah.
But it's got to hold a lot of water, right?
Yeah. So if you know people and I think it just gives you that confidence that actually you can just move into a new job and not necessarily pick up where you left off, but just carry on what you were doing, but for a different company, and put your own stamp on it as well.
And the people that you're talking to for the advice, it's all about trust, right? It's all about the trust circle of people you've looked after them and they've looked after you, and so on and so on.
Yeah, well, is it the saying, an elephant never forgets? I think there's been some suppliers who haven't necessarily interacted with me or my practices in a way that I would want them to. That only happens once. I don't.
No kidding.
Yeah, but it's so important, like, that the practices are looked after, and if you don't necessarily give them the attention and the importance that they deserve, then unfortunately you're not going to be on my not going to be on my list for future.
Not going to be in the Rolodex, as they used to call it.
No. And like I say, like, trust and the relationship is super important.
I think it's something now that, to be honest, well, I always say to people, I always hold my phone up in these conversations and say, I think I'm just short of 3,600 contacts in that. 20 of them are family members. And the truth of it is from 25 years in the industry, it's because what's happened here is so many practice managers, vets, vet nurses have always ended up with that number because you fix problems. And, and I think that goes a long way with confidence that they can follow the company that they work for and trust them. But essentially, the person will always come first.
Yeah. And there's, in this industry as well, people move from job to job.
Yeah.
And if you as a person have been difficult or not given me or my practices the attention that we need, then even at a new company, I'm not going to entertain you, because
fool me once.
If you've shown your true colours, and actually just because you're wearing a different T-shirt at BPA Live or wherever doesn't mean that you're going to be any different. So I think it's important that you do what you say you're going to do, and if you can't, then be honest. Yeah,
well, put your hands up. I mean, that I think, to be honest, a lot of the time it's a case of, if you get busted on it, own it. I try and install that ethos with all my team. We will make mistakes, but the first thing you're going to do is put your hands up, because it's so important. Because I don't know, we're a support service to a support service. We don't exist we're completely in the dark, but we are a support service to a support service. And at the end of the day, mistakes will happen. Own it, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, and as a procurement team, you're a support service to the practice if you're working in the jobs that I've done. So you need a similar mentality for dealing with the practice as well, that you're there to support them and give them good customer service. And if you can't, then you need to improve.
Yeah. Or own it.
Yeah, exactly.
Be honest on it at all times. Yeah. So, Medivet, how long doing procurement? 3 years? Is this another 3 year itch? 6 years. Oh, I'm glad to see we broke the 3 year stint.
Yeah, we said before, though, I think I was at PDSA for 9 years. I was at Medivet for 9 years.
Different roles?
2 different roles. A similar amount of time at each.
Getting the itch.
Yeah. I think there's, I don't know if I'm making this up, but I don't think I am. I think there's a rule that you either stay in a job, is that a year, 3 years, or 10 years. Or if you're past 10 years, then it goes on for a longer time. But I think I've probably got a 9 or 10 year itch in both jobs, that actually time for something new and time for a challenge.
Is it? And do you keep moving essentially because the quest to learn?
Yeah.
It's kind of itchy feet thing.
I think there's a quest to learn. I always, when I was younger, thought like success was driven by how far you can go up the ladder. I think as I got older, I'm like, actually, that's not important.
What is?
It's not important.
But what is?
I think a balance between your work and your life.
Now you're showing how old are you, Chris?
46.
Yeah. I thought you were younger.
I know, so does everybody. In fact, I've got no kids and not too many grey hairs.
That's why you've stayed younger, because no kids, which is definitely an advantage, I'm going to say.
I don't know how I'm this age, but I am. But yeah, I always thought that I would want to like carry on climbing a career ladder. But I think, like I say, as I got older, I just thought there's more important things in life than doing that. And again, I was quite happy with my job in Medivet. I really enjoyed the challenge of procurement. But I think I just got to a point where it's time to like do something different and I think do it for myself where I can get more of that balance.
The balance of the home and the life. Because Medivet was full on, wasn't it? Medivet was a full on job.
I commuted to Watford twice a week. So obviously
around the corner from our old HQ.
Yeah.
That's a drive.
So from Staffordshire to Hertfordshire, 2 days a week. 6 years is quite a long time. But it's part of the job and something I signed up for. So no complaints with that. But I got to a point where I think I need to challenge myself in a different way. And I want to try and build something for myself rather than necessarily working hard for other people. And that's, I suppose, where I got to with what I'm doing now.
So part 5, Ellie's putting here, taking the leap. So are we saying then that when you came away from Medivet, this was all about going to do something for yourself? Is that the official company line?
Yeah, so I wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to try and build something. I've always had a dream to have my own company.
Oh, yeah, really? Right,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think when I did my MBA, and I think I finished that in 2011. I actually launched a online pet pharmacy, medicine pharmacy.
Did you?
I did.
When was that?
2011. So my dissertation for my MBA was about the online demographic of pet owners. So I was looking at the marketing segmentation of pet owners,
right,
and what their personality and behaviors were in an online environment.
Right.
So I suppose like 15 years ago, that's quite forward thinking. And then I used that to build a online pharmacy. And I launched that and ran that from Wales initially. And then when I relocated up to Staffordshire, I moved it to up here as well.
Because that's quite complicated to do, isn't it? An online pharmacy, you've got to have a vet. I guess you're the vet doing sign-off.
Yeah. And I was doing this alongside my permanent job. I obviously got a sign-off from PDSA at the time for doing it.
That was early then,
That was really early. But with that, I got to a point where the margins were so small.
Were they?
And the time to keep up with things like Google and the algorithms,
SEO and all that.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, and my career was like moving in a positive direction. So I was doing different things with PDSA, and then thinking about moving to Medivet. And I thought I can't. Either I do this myself, like I do the online pharmacy 100% of the time, or I stop it, because I would need to put so much focus, time, money into getting it to a point where the profitability was enough to pay my salary to think about doing it. And I couldn't justify doing it at the time. And I also thought as well, as I started to have more discussions with like pharmaceutical companies around rebates and pricing, then I thought it's a bit of a conflict really that I'm doing this like on both sides.
Yeah.
And I thought if I'm moving to Medivet, I don't really want to do that either. So I after about maybe 3-4 years, I wrapped it up.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed like the entrepreneurial.
I was going to say, because there's a few online pharmacies now, isn't there, that since this CMA latest report and telling everybody to not buy drugs from your vet, got them from an online pharmacy.
Yeah.
Online pharmacies are a pretty big deal now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean,
but
serious numbers.
This was like quite early
I was going to say, this was early to the punch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really early to the punch.
I didn't necessarily have like maybe the IT skills and the knowledge and experience to like, how do I take it from something that was doing okay, but maybe like as a side project rather than a full business. And I didn't really want to like take it to that next level. So that's why I stopped it. But I like the business, like running your own business side of it. I think and I was always thinking back to that about, I enjoyed that. How can I do something for myself again in the future?
Yeah.
But I wasn't really sure where I get to. And I suppose that comes from my mum and dad, really. My dad, like, is a super hard worker and so as an entrepreneur in himself, he built his electrical contractors business up and hired tens of people. My mum had her own hairdressing salon and again was a business owner. And
so having your own business was always kind of there.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I've never known quite what was the right thing for me to do. So thinking about it, I thought either I go and get another job, so I get another job in practice. I thought I don't want to go back clinical. I don't really enjoy that. I don't really want to work in the corporate world. I don't want another corporate job. I think I've been there. I've done that. I didn't necessarily want to dive back into that. Not there's anything wrong with it, but I just thought I want to do something again different.
You get proper itchy feet, don't you?
Yeah, and then I thought, actually, how can I use what I've learned at PDSA and at Medivet to build my own company? And obviously with things like the CMA remedies coming out and the impact that that's having on independent and corporate vet practice, I thought, how can I
giving everybody more work?
How can I use what I've learned to help vet practice, in particular the independent vet practice? I think a lot of the corporate groups have people like myself helping them with the commercial side of running a vet practice. But that ability to help the independent practices, I think there's a bit, I felt there was a bit of a gap there that I could slot myself into, where I could help some of these independent practices compete better and use the skills, knowledge, experience that I've gained to support them to compete better. And I guess that's where I'm at now, and what I'm trying to do.
So this is where veterinary, because we haven't said the company name yet, we probably should say the new company name, right? Veterinary Procurement Partners. Where does that name come from? Is that you and Ryan sat down one night, have a couple of beers, and what we're going to call it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because I'm very much it is, what's the saying? Like, it says what it is on the tin.
Right.
Kind of person. Like, I'm fairly straightforward.
Black and white.
I'm a northern person.
Don't diss the northern people.
No, but I'm fairly,
I'm with you.
I'm fairly straightforward and to the point. Much to my mother's. She does sometimes say, "Oh, you're very straight talking and forward." Sometimes. Well, I think in a nice way. I'm fair. I'm not a difficult person. But yeah, I think it's just the traits of coming from the north of England. Actually, that I wanted it just to be clear what it was. So veterinary, obviously, not everybody knows that I'm a vet, so I thought that was important to put in there. And to be specific about the market it was targeting, procurement, because that's what it's about. And then partners, rather than it being partners, because at the minute there's just myself, but hopefully that will grow. It's more about the partnership side of the
between
company,
you and the
the practice, and ultimately the suppliers and my network. So that's how I came to it. I did look at different iterations of names. I felt that you could change it to VPP, which in our industry we have far too many acronyms, but I thought at least I could shorten it and make it a little bit more impactful should I need to. And then I even thought that actually it could be not necessarily a stopgap, but just a company to get things moving. And then as things evolve, other business ideas come, then it could be, we could overlay a trading name on top of that. So I guess that's where it came from, and just trying to summarize what we're doing as a business, really.
process.